All right, here we go again. And this time we're in the world of faces again because now we are using both menus and commands. So see, it's all pretty much the same except for we have this face menu here. And if I just click on it and see here, we have this four sub menus and the see there's the bindings, which I'll get to in a moment. So first I'm going to show off the command handler. It's pretty simple. Basically, um, I'm going to see where, I forgot what it's called, but if I just hover delegate, so it's delegate, which, basically means that, see here, basically you can pass a function to this to be executed. So here we have, action, and if it can execute, then can execute, and then execute. And since it's inheriting from the I command, this is how part of how it handles commands. So it could just be a key press. It could be a Q, could be a multiple like hold command Q, that sort of thing. All the Q-based commands you want. Anyway, here's the window, and you may be looking at uh-oh, but I'll get to this first. Since this is the same code, I want to talk about how I changed it to just be better. So this is, see, now it's in a for loop. I just wasn't thinking about it before, but now see, instead of adding all the different images, now I just add the images plus the I. So uh, they're just added with this for loop. So I basically, divided the amount of things that I had by four. Now it's just one for each list, basically. And if I wanted to, I could, put it all in one list, but I feel like this is the perfect balance of making it clean while also making it readable. And then also just for ease, this starts at 1 and is less than 5 because these don't start at 0. Get image is the same. And now, actually, if I go back to the command or the main window, I changed it so every button has a tag. So these all have, so the radio buttons, for example, they have tags 0 through 1. The check boxes have tags 0 through 1. So what I do is to make this way simpler. These all use the same method now instead of a separate method each, which calls on the get image, which still isn't bad, but this is just way cleaner. And then we have this if combo dot selected item. So this is the for the combo box. Combo dot selected item is combo box item selected item. Basically this you it looks like you don't need it, but you do need this to run it to make this code work. It basically just checks you know the we know we have the method, but this basically checks if it is a combo box, and you do need that. I don't really know how else to explain it well, but you need it, even though it looks optional. And then just parse the value. So to do that, you just get the item, tag, the toString method, which, gets it as a string. And then since it's an int, parse it as an int. And then that way you can just use it as the value for, in this case, the hair. So that basically I had in the last one, I had one for the combo box, but there was a bunch of if statements. Well, not a bunch, but there's four. I had, and then same for the value changed where there was only one, but there's four if statements, and I changed that in a different way, but I'll get to that. And then these, there was one for each element, so there's four eyes, four noses. So the combo eyes and nose work the exact same, and then this had if statements, which was just me being dumb. See how it can basically really easily just instead of having an if statement, just cast a slider value to an int because it's a double, so this will just work. And then subtract 1 because I have it as 1 to 4. And then the random is the exact same. And then up here, you're probably wondering, oh, I have all these lists, so um, bitmap image. Why didn't I do that for the command handler? It doesn't work for the command handler. It works up to a point, but basically here, see, you're adding the uh, I'll just go down in order. So these are just the initial things. Then in the setup handlers method, I literally just set them up with each element. And if I do this if I have an array and do this in a for loop, that does work. But then when we get to the key bindings is when it seems to be the issue, where uh, you're calling a method here. It's either data context or key bindings. I haven't exactly narrowed it down, but it's one of these two. And I still need to look more into it as well because maybe other people aren't having the same issue. But anyway, so here instead of having hair one, you would have hair handlers index 0, and then same with these. And I didn't have these in a for loop originally because they're in this data context, but I did have the input bindings in a for loop, and it just no, I didn't have these in a for loop either because it has the different controls. But still, I still called from the array, or I used specifically a list like up here, and it just wasn't working. And it does work if they're not in a list, so it could have just been the way I was doing it. But it was one of those things where I wasn't getting any errors, but just wasn't running. And even with the debugger, I really couldn't narrow it down completely. So that's what I'm saying. I have to look into it more. But anyway, it doesn't save too much space because it just saves these and these because I don't think you can do a for loop in here, and these have to be separate commands. So and yeah, that's it for the changes. See, these still call these call the get image, so it's not reusing or it's not basically creating the same code again. It's like how these call the get image method. These also call it just in a different way, or just without parsing a value. Just want to handle it directly with these. So I'll show it running here now. So here it looks the same. This all still works the same as it did before. Random is completely untouched. But then face menu, and I kind of did it in a smart way, or at least I think is a smart way. Control is the modifier key, so it's always control. And then the hair is control 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the note or the eyes, which is the next item down, is the next row down. So it's a QWER. Then same with nose where it's ASDF, and then mouth where it's ZXCV. So if I click this, oh, it's different now. I know I can do the same thing. Eyes, I'll just do the default one for all of them. Yeah, that's already nose one, and then mouth, and then obviously I'm not gonna. You can't see my keyboard, but I'm not gonna click anything, and you'll see that it's changing. So I'll just cycle through them all. So that was already one, so 2, 3, 4, and, pretty cool stuff. And then and yeah, so show off some more random faces because they're pretty silly, and yeah, that's how this works. It's pretty simple, but I like how we're kind of basically learning two separate things. The menu, which is, pretty simple, but then also the key bindings, which is, extremely useful. There's not a program out there that doesn't use key bindings in some way. So, yeah, that's pretty much for it for this one. See you next time.